Welcome to GLYPHGLITCH.
What is this, Charlie? What is this?
This is Anarchism. What is it and what ain't it?
From the Sprout Collective.
Yeah. So this kid that comes to open mics has found out I'm a bit of an anarchist, and he came across this pamphlet and then was like, "Here, I got this for you." So I figured maybe we could go through it.
Bro, these are the real deal. I just checked out Sprout Distro who put this out. They're like serious. They're serious.
No, yeah, I think they're. Yeah, I always wanted to join an anarchist club. Then I decided that doesn't make sense.
When I was 19, I got like way too into like anarchist folk punk, like Against Me were really big.
Oh, for sure.
And then I got into all the ones who weren't as famous. The ones that were like, run away from home, So I did that. And then I did end up in like a commune of sorts, I guess, in San Francisco. Back when anarchists would wear the black bandanas before Antifa misappropriated all of their...
That's something about this anarchist movement that I think has been...
And then, of course, I just ended up doing heroin and ran away back home. And then I went back to another one in Indianapolis. And then, of course, I ended up doing heroin, so I came home. So basically, anarchism leads to heroin.
That's one path one could take.
I think it's the path.
I think ultimate freedom is full of responsibility that I think a lot of people are afraid to do that part, so they accept like state-run things rather than diving into anarchy because it's the safety of less responsibility. You don't actually have to take care of yourself like old Uncle Sam, and society will help you along, which is like, I guess, one way to live. But I think if everybody had more of a anarchist mentality, I think a lot more shit would get done rather than trusting our politicians to obviously not get things done and do things against our will even.
I think anarchism's the worst form of government apart from all the other ones.
Well, it isn't government.
Apart from all the other ones. It's the key.
It's not government.
But, well, I mean, I don't know. There's a whole anarchism as methodology, anarchism as principle. The stuff that's underlined, are we reading that?
Well, we could go through that if you want.
I mean, sure. Let's see what it gives us. Under anarchism, what it is, what it ain't. What it ain't? Oh. Cool. I already don't want to join.
Yeah. It's like spelling cool, cool with a K.
Is this the Florida edition? Is this the edition they give to the fucking rednecks?
Southern print.
There is a great deal of confusion among anarchists in terms of what anarchism is and, more importantly, what anarchism is not. Even worse, some mistake opponents for allies. Many anarchists need to be reminded that we are against the state and government, and that the fundamental stance is the main characteristic that differentiates us from others who promote social change. Boring. Anarchism derives from the philosophical premise that institutionalized power and enforcement, especially in the form of the state, is a negative method of trying to create and maintain social cohesion. The defining aspect of anarchism is a categorical rejection of the principle and practice of government. Further, anarchism entails a radical critique of the exercise of authority and power, holding to the conviction that cooperation is a better and more just way of attaining social harmony than competition. Anarchists have promoted voluntary cooperation, egalitarian relations, and mutual aid. It's just really just... Okay, I mean, there's nothing disagreeable. I have nothing even to provide commentary about yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, do you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we could just actually say what those mean in layman's terms for people if you wanted.
Those were layman's terms.
I mean, fairly. Okay, you can keep going, I guess, then.
I mean, that's pretty simple. Anarchism begins from the premise that in order to be truly free, people need to dispense with government and its institutionalization in the state. The politics of representation being hierarchical is also considered authoritarian. Instead, anarchists promote direct action, which means any action undertaken in one's own interest without asking for permission from the state and its agents. The ultimate vision is a classless and stateless society free from all forms of exploitation. I mean, I don't... What do you think of that?
So I think what it's stating is rather than asking an elected government or even an authoritarian government or socialist government to like take care of us and like economically provide, the gaps that we need to sustain an economy. I think what we can do as anarchists is take matters into our own hands, which means you have to take responsibility for like, all right, how am I going to feed myself? Like you have to either create a community where somebody's making food, somebody's harvesting food, somebody's, raising livestock or whatever, like you do have to cooperate. And that's a huge part of it. But also it makes you have to provide something. Like there's less, I don't know, man. It's more about taking responsibility for yourself is the best thing I could say. Is like, I don't know what the hang up is about being able to provide for yourself and like allowing a society where you can provide for yourself. I mean, there's so many laws now because we're stuck in a state that people who want to break away and do their own thing have so many obstacles before they can.
I think it's hard for you and I to conceptualize, given where we live isn't very cool. But I remember when I traveled across the country and stuff, there were community gardens, there were co-ops, there was, like Mother Hubbard's Cupboard. There are all these places you just go get some free food, and also the homeless weren't treated like terrorists and arrested everywhere.
Right. Well, there's ways you could set up society. Like, for instance, like if you do have public spaces, you could have, fruit trees that edible plants that everybody can just like come and gather when they need to. You could, I don't know. You have to work out things like, for instance, there has to be some sort of part of that responsibility is giving back when you have enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not being greedy is an essential moral
Which is why
standpoint.
I didn't like the
anarchy.
verbiage here. I didn't like the verbiage of outside something about outside of the institutionalization of state power, we act within our own self-interests. I would have used something a bit warmer.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the main hang up with an anarchist libertarian society is the selfish aspect that can, you just like, I'm not responsible for other people, therefore you're callous towards them. Like, that shouldn't be the case because, from a libertarian standpoint, you would want to have the advantage of having those relationships so that your trade and your like opportunities are wider. And it's not really like once you have enough, there's no need for expansion. So you really just reinvest. Whereas when you have states, corporations, institutions, the idea is to expand and then like take the profit margin and make that bigger and bigger at the expense of people. But hopefully, with the idea of localized, voluntary cooperation economies. Unfortunately, the downside, of course, is always like regulation. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
But even the verbiage here, right? Like my personal anarchism is oppose or deconstruct all hierarchies. But it seems here the politics of representation being hierarchical is also considered authoritarian. The thing that I've noticed about anarchist communes is that there's absolutely hierarchies within them. So is it just hierarchies that the state made that we find undesirable, or
yeah,
like,
no,
you know what I mean?
The
like
idea
it has to be hierarchy, and selfishness out of self-interest that promotes hierarchy.
Yeah, I think ultimately there's going to be hierarchy in your immediate operation.
Some form of it, hierarchy of meaning, or nature itself has a hierarchy.
You need some sort of order at least, and I think like the most logical order is always going to have some sort of pyramid to it.
Or the fact that it's like an anarchist commune, if there is a hierarchy of control, then you can like destabilize it whenever you realize that it's there. Shouldn't be too difficult.
Well, yeah, I guess that would be the you would hope that like if things go off track, the rest of the people have enough authority to correct the ship, as it were. But I think like what I mean is you got to keep the pyramid as small as possible in order to create, like we were talking about last time, little microclimates, little microcultures that then can spread. Like you need to have, but you don't want to like have specialization either. I think you want to be as like jack of all trades as possible, while still, like you're gonna inevitably need specialization. But I think the more autonomous you are, the better off everybody will be, especially in times of like whenever there's a world war and there's a shortage of things, then we're not going to be able to like transport oil because they're blowing up everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like when we know we still have a food supply, that's huge. And unfortunately, like the more populated places are going to be the first to get hit with all that kind of stuff.
And then next bit, it's just simple. We can all agree, I guess. Anarchist critical thinking provides a challenge to conformity and mediocrity in social and political relations. This challenge enhances the place of the individual in relation to the collective. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a part of this that's egregious?
No.
Okay,
no.
so it's
I
good.
thought we would just kind of explain like
okay.
what anarchy really actually
I was ready to
can be.
roast them.
Oh no, dude. No, I think they're kind of on point. It's just it's a little like, outdated, or like verbiage is a little weird, but I think overall their points are accurate.
It doesn't mean engaging in civil disobedience and cooperation with the police. It doesn't mean breaking the law or breaking a window if the intention is merely to register public disapproval of some government policy.
Yeah, I think, instead of acting with violence, act with, your vote should be, like, your dollars, kind of like it is now. Like, what you invest in is what you're actually, voting for, giving power to. So, you could avoid giving money to things that aren't providing something for the whole, if that's how you feel. I don't know.
Well, okay, my favorite anarchists in history, I think, have always been, outside of the philosophers like Emma Goldman and stuff like that, they've been Christian exclusively. Called the Diggers, right? They call the Diggers.
Go on. I'm not familiar.
The Diggers were around, I think, back in like the 15 or 1600s, and they were just like completely uninterested in. They didn't believe in personal property. They didn't believe in any of that. They believed in tending the soil and giving things away for free, and believed in God. And they were like summarily executed by whatever king was around then. Yeah. But their philosophy was just so hardcore and awesome.
Similar to the Cathars too, who were just like very.
I think they were called the Diggers. I'm sorry, everybody.
No, yeah, check it.
I don't want the Diggers to be someone who's not that.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of groups who have tried it and then gotten snuffed out, especially people who have like started with a religious tone to it, or kind of like a monastic zone.
Yeah, the Diggers were a legendary group. Wait, what? They were the English Diggers in 1649 to 50 who had promulgated a vision of society free from private property and all forms of buying and selling. And apparently in San Francisco in the 60s and 70s, there was another group called the Diggers who took their name from that movement.
There was recently like a caravan of, pardon me if this is a derogatory term, gypsies in Britain. I feel like it was like 2 or 3 years ago, where there was this huge thing where they just like set up camp, and then like they were disputing whether they were allowed to like live there or not, and the people were just like, basically they were gonna, I don't know what they ended up doing, but It's just I don't know why I thought of that. Because the digger.
Because
because
gypsies
it's
are
just
awesome.
like these people just like we're trying anarchism.
Well, gypsies have that in their bones.
Yeah, and I think that there's. But I mean, do you have to be like migratory to do that, or like I don't know? You can't really be. Where are we going next? I don't know.
Just reading about direct action. Direct action is when we do things for ourselves without begging, asking, or demanding that someone in authority help us.
Right. Yeah. That's
I mean,
the
anarchism's also
responsibility,
like
essentially.
amazing if you have 0 health problems and if you have like 1 child. Like it's like pretty great.
No. I think you have to restructure a lot
Yeah.
of things in order for this to be successful. But I think obviously the way we're going isn't, and
Yeah.
it benefits very few at the expense of very, very many. And this, at least, you could yell at the person who's being corrupt because they're close by.
And co-ops and mutual aids, those are all great. I don't think we have to really explain what those are. Is there a critique? We notice that there is injustice and suffering in the world. And so we ask the question, what's wrong? We look at the mechanisms, institutions, and social dynamics that create and perpetuate injustice and analyze them thoroughly, down to their root causes, hence the term radical. Yep.
Yeah. And what is their root cause, probably?
Is it in the next part?
I don't know. But I would guess it's the state.
The state or... I mean, I don't know.
The idea of like some institution
I'm pretty misanthropic.
thinking that you're better off with them than without them.
My anarchism to me is more like a tool. And it's a tool to analyze situations, to analyze art, to analyze predicaments, to analyze my social scenarios. Anarchism to me on a large scale involves a hell of a lot of trust. And I don't trust anybody but you. You know, like I have to like trust that there's no ulterior motives yet. I'm not sure if it's the state that nurtures selfishness or if it's something innate in people.
No, I think it's part of a survival instinct for sure.
Right.
But I think.
But if you eliminate those, if you make survival easy, and if you make survival beneficial and all that, then you can probably get rid of the selfishness that propels egotists forward in power moves and things like that. Probably.
No, I don't think so. I think we'd invent problems if we didn't have any problems.
That's where I was going with it. But like I guess,
like,
but the argument would be that like no, the problems are all because of the state or whatever. And if you make
we're kind of explorers. We're ever expanding. We got to find out where's next. So, I don't know. But,
Oh boy!
What's up, Luke? That's Charlie's roommate, Luke. He's wanted in a series of missing women cases. No, that's always the problem with any great philosophy. It's just fucking...
the practice of it. The people in the practice of it.
So, like, I'm also a philosophical anarchist, right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, that kid who just walked out of the room last week said, like, and I think he got it from you because it sounds like something you would say that I've hated.
Go on.
I hated a lot of quotes from last week. This is the one I've hated the most because it's like the opposite of everything that I believe in. I might be more nihilist than anarchist then, but it's the. He said like meaninglessness is imposed on all things or something like that. He said like the. What did he say? It was something like that, right?
I think,
and he got it from you because that sounds like a you thing of like everything's inherently meaningful, which is the opposite of what I know to be true.
I would disagree with that statement, but I would agree with the first one. I think meaning is imposed on everything. Nothing has.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Nothing has meaning inherently.
Okay.
Until we impose it.
He said
I think things have value inherently, like.
But he said
meaninglessness
is imposed.
But.
Right?
What? Say again.
He said meaninglessness is imposed on all things.
Yeah, I think if you think something is meaningless, then that's you imposing meaningless.
No, I
onto
believe
it.
the first part of what you said. Like, Oh my God, that thing just it upset me so much I could not interact with it right then and there, because everything in this planet is an object with, and unless we impose meaning upon it, it's just that object. That tree is going to be a tree whether or not I insist it has a purpose. Correct?
I suppose. I think everything's a vibration, and therefore a vibration can be harmonized with.
But I suppose where I'm going with this, with philosophical anarchist, is that I'm at the point where I think that imposing meaning is a form of oppression, actually. That
sometimes, yeah, it limits the scope.
It's kind of building off of Albert Camus' quote. His whole absurd problem is we're meaningful creatures in a meaningless environment, and that's the absurd schism of life.
I think that's beautiful.
I think it's beautiful too, but that goes to the point of we have so much meaning within us that we try to perpetuate it and project it onto all other things, which can be unfair of a lot of different situations. Try to make narratives out of. Because I think that life is narrative,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
We're
narrative creatures.
Yeah, it goes with what you're saying about free. Like the closest I'll get to free will is we do have the ability to create our own stories of life. Like we do have the ability to go out there and create our own narratives.
I think it's more about it's
just
you have the ability to project your feelings and meaning onto your experience. Like you get to control the joy or pain of it based on your mentality.
Hopefully you get to control it, but also meaning itself could be oppressing to the person who sees the meaning. Have you ever been so in love with a chick, right? And then you're hung up on her for 3 years. You can't get past that part of your narrative because you put so much meaning in it. And then the meaning you put in her that oppressed her into something in your brain is now oppressing your heart.
And we can agree that that's meaning being projected onto it.
Yeah,
not genuine, but an idea that we've grown ourselves in our head.
But I think that's basically the point of all meaning. It's just that sometimes meaning is reciprocated. And then it's a little bit more
when
real.
Meaning has consensus, then
it's a bit more real.
That's what I mean.
So I'm a nihilist, but I don't mean it in a depressing way. I'm also acquiring a stutter in my old age, but I don't mean it in a depressing way, because when you find a group of people who share the same meaning, and that can also be a group delusion, but who gives a fuck these days?
No, delusions are useful as long as they're.
I mean, that's literally why people go to church, right? Because of the shared meaning of the thing. Mm-hmm. And that's when we get your magic in there. A group of people who are praying,
all
if they really believe the same meaning, then there's probably even something biological in them that's it's working.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's vibrationally happening. If everything is vibration, and then their vibrations are reaching a point that they could actually emanate out into the world and then affect the vibration of things around them.
Okay.
Then meaning can be projected onto things, and then you could even magically change the world.
Sure.
With your prayer or thought. But it's also the practical, if you think about something over, and if you're praying about it every day, you're also thinking about it every day. You're changing your actions toward that goal every day. So that's practical magic as well. You're doing minuscule things. I heard this thing earlier that was talking about magic, and it was talking about how magic is actually mundane, and that's why people kind of miss mysticism, because it's not necessarily it's the ritual of making yourself into a place where your mind is, and then you project the meaning from there. So it's not so hocus pocus magic. It's really just all right, I'm gonna wake up today and enjoy the sunrise with my cup of coffee, and then having that in your mind, and then just sitting there.
But even then, it does start at a nihilist base, right? Everything's meaningless until the mystic comes around and makes these different vibrations meaningfully connect with each other.
It's not meaningless. It just has yet to have meaning imposed on it.
But that's meaningless.
No, it's just void. It's
the absence of meaning has to be meaninglessness.
It's zero. It's not positive or negative. It's just a solid object until you.
But I wouldn't call it negative.
Vibrate it a different way.
But they're just, okay, you can call them neutral if you want.
That's what I mean, neutral.
But neutral is meaningless. Meaningless isn't a negative thing.
Okay, in that sense, then yes, I agree
I'm not a
with you.
nihilist and like
It's
there's
not-
no hope or whatever.
Okay, yeah, it's not
We live in a world
hopeless,
full
it's
of
meaningless.
possible meaning. We
I agree
live in
with
a
that.
world full of possible meaning. You get to choose what you invest your meaning into because no one lives not believing in anything. I believe in art. I believe in the moving picture. I believe in comic books. I believe in dance, and I believe in good friends. You get to put your meaning into something. You're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Never stop challenging those things, but you're gonna have to do it. Okay, I thought I was gonna get so much more pushback because last week, dude, I was so thrown for a fucking loop when either you or him said like,
yeah.
the natural state of all things is meaning, and it's like, wait, no, that's,
I
that's,
think we
that
just have
can't
to
be
kind
it,
of
dude.
distinguish language a little bit, like what we're actually saying, and once we get to that
Well,
point,
we're both
I think we
sticklers
agree.
for language. Like we're both sticklers for it.
Yeah, I think we agree that meaninglessness in the sense that
And
it is neutral and is yet to be
absolutely
affected.
neutral, yeah.
Because honestly, I don't think anything is until we affect it.
No, absolutely.
So
Dude, okay, I'm
Yeah,
of the
that's it.
opinion that if the tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, it's silent, actually. No one, it doesn't register the conceptualization of sound.
I'd go so far as to there's no tree.
Thank you. That might as well not be. But that runs contrary to so many people when they're first getting into like philosophical ideas. They're like, of course it makes a sound. I'm not important enough to like, you're the one who makes meaning of your life. You know, don't let other
Exactly,
people,
yeah.
that's the anarchist idea, right? Don't let other people impose belief systems or meaning upon you.
Yeah.
So like the first thing that you should do as an anarchist, if you're interested in it, is really look at all the things that you're providing meaning and time to, and then deconstruct those things like it just said, and whichever ones still kind of hold up with any amount of integrity, those are the things that are most important and probably most arguably meaningful, depending on your level of existentialist belief.
Right. And I also want to say on the like the selfish aspect versus like cooperative aspect and the like survival mode being like automatically you're going to think number one first and get to this selfish greed kind of vibe. I think when you really break things down, and I think if you anthropologically look at how societies happen, it is actually more advantageous to cooperate.
Yes,
and like when you realize that, then we could skip that step of being greedy and cooperate.
And that'll be the
like,
hardest thing, dude.
It's actually logical to do that.
But that'll be the hardest thing to convince out of anything. Like I think we have a better chance convincing someone that meaninglessness isn't bad, and you have the power of your own meaning. We have an easier time doing that than because we live in a culture that for at least 30 years has exclusively rewarded psychopathic, selfish behavior. You know, like it goes against everything that they've ever been told.
Get your 15 minutes of fame. Get your very
like I think that like the most charitable way that I can describe what I think that the life path that's advertised to young people is, the most charitable way is be cutthroat as fuck for 50 years so that you can retire and be happy with your family for the last 20. Like, but I think that like they're advertised a life where they have to be cruel and super narcissistic for 30, 40 years.
I think if the dynamic is going to be not anarchism, but this grand pyramid where there are people way, way at the top that are like untouchable, then of course we're going to be in this.
Why aren't there more Christian anarchists? Because like the few things I know is like upside down kingdom. Right, it's stuff that like you're talking about right now.
This is what we have to. We do have to do the as above, so below. That's essentially what we have to do. We have to,
like, that's
which
so
is
cool.
the irony of the Star of David, is that like it's kind of telling us the key to like break apart the whole globalist thing. Is you do the so below and you bring it back to the point where we start again.
Right.
I can affect reality.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate magic, is like you're directly connected to the peak.
Well, at least we can see each other where we meet each other where we're at now. You say affect reality, I say put meaning into meaningless things. And it's basically the same thing.
I mean, we're both talking about what I would say is magic.
Okay.
That's essentially,
And I would call it
law of attraction.
I would call it like
prayer,
nihilism light, like LITE, like a Miller Lite, nihilism light.
Well, it's in the way that exactly, dude. It is nihilism light because you're just like you're the center of the universe. You're the creator of your world and all that stuff, and like that is true. But like the thing is, you're not the only creator in this world.
That's what I think that love is. Like love, obviously there's a biological connection, but when you talk to that person and you realize that they put the same amount of meaning into the same things that you put meaning in, like that's literally what love is.
That's like the vibration harmonizing.
Yeah, and like it's got to get people's brains to wrap around the idea that nihilism isn't like, you know, a fast track to suicide. That's just how people have hijacked it. Nihilism is it's more existentialism probably, but like you just put meaning in what you want to put meaning into, and then you have those beautiful moments where you find groups of people or just one special person who also puts the same amount of meaning into the same goofy things.
Yeah, it's a useful tool to detach and like be outside of the space, but then you do have to always like go back into it. Don't just live outside the space and say nothing has meaning.
I also
go
like
back in and put meaning into it,
because it rejects objectivity while accepting it at the same exact time. Objectively, that's a tree. Means nothing to me, right? So like the objective truth doesn't have any subjective value until I give value to the objective. Like so there it's
once
like
you start thinking that tree like had a whole life, and how many animals started their lives inside that tree, or because of that tree fed their kids, and then how many, you know. And then what if it fell one year and then like
exactly when you add a narrative,
you can put,
when you impose a narrative upon it, and a narrative could be oppressive or it can be liberating. You just have to be careful about how you're crafting your narrative, because so many of us
be like, fuck that tree, I can't believe it
so many of
grew
us
there.
make narratives that just exploit a lot of people accidentally, and we don't even know that we're doing it. Someone has to play the fool or the fall guy sometimes. It's not fair, but
it's all that
I wish that more people understood
bias.
that like there is such a great amount of, I think, positivity and genuine harm reduction to anarchism, to nihilism, to magic, actually. Like there's a great amount of those things. It's just founded in the idea that we invent our own meaning, essentially.
Bingo. Basically, the end of this is just how anarchism is not extreme liberalism. It's not social democrat, like state-run economy. It's not Leninism, which is like no private economy. It's almost like complete private economy. How do we set this up, man?
Like
you gotta like really destroy everything and keep the roads.
Well, that's where I go. I use anarchism as a philosophical tool, like we were just discussing. I think when you implement it large scale.
Yeah, in practice, like, I don't know how we're going to govern people.
Like, in practice?
Do we need to govern people? Probably, because I've met some of you.
Well, we all need to be, like, emotionally anarchist. We all need to be anarchist in our relationships with people, in our relationship with the earth, probably.
With institutions.
With institutions, but when it comes to full-scale economies, I don't know. You sort of lost me at anarchist economy.
Yeah, I don't think there's economy so much as trade. Like, it's really
but how do you
just
keep
like
it from
willing.
becoming Burning Man? Like, imagine if Burning Man lasted 20 years.
Yeah, but like I don't know. The thing about Burning Man is it's only rich kids who could never actually survive in the woods.
What do you think? I think most anarchists are that these days.
Oh, well, y'all better learn your plants, man.
No, I mean, I'm sure that they put in the work. I'm sure they've hopped a train or two. I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah.
It's just...
But there's... I don't know. Yeah, what do you do about... I see, the way I always see anarchism is self-sustaining, and you got to just have like a small community of,
Well, practically the best...
20-some...
Well, practically speaking, the best that we can do, like, we live in Lakeland. We're never going to get an anarchist commune. If you're in a place that already has a lot of these things, then fucking just go there, help them, help and volunteer. But we can do practically, though, if we're really that worried about consumption, is, like, I know you tend to a garden sometimes. And if, like, the best you can do is make yourself, like, a salad every few weeks, that's perfect. That's great. It's destabilizing the system in a very, very small way, but it's still destabilizing it.
No, yeah. I think, like boycotting is the strongest form of, like, literally just stop giving them the power that you don't want to give them.
Well, basically it goes back to...
Figure a way out. Go around it.
It goes back to, like, what we were just talking about with, like, the interpersonal anarchism. Adapt that to the real world. deconstruct where you can deconstruct your eating habits, your spending habits, what you're choosing to give meaning to in your life, and I think you'll be surprised at how few things are truly necessary,
right.
and how many other things can be found at alternative, probably locally produced places that are less exploitative
and
globally.
how much community you'll end up building just by going and finding those places, and,
Exactly.
and like you'll be surprised that you like made some friends and connections, and all of a sudden you have a new interest that you didn't know was going on in the city, and now
I'm loving it.
dude, wait, what? We're not.
Oh shit! This is the Anarchist podcast. Yeah, that's what you should do if you care.
Although, if you would like to sponsor the podcast, we are looking for sponsors, so I could do some really bad.
But the thing is,
ads.
okay, like here's where the free will dilemma would come in. I bought that in Auburndale. In order to have gone to a fucking local coffee shop from where I was, would be like 30 fucking 45 minutes, man. I wanted to go 10 minutes down the street and come back home.
It's a shame. I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
But right here where you are, there are local
Yeah.
places here. You can do that pretty easily.
Right.
I can't. I
and
can't.
you just
do
have
that.
to choose those places. And luckily, there's enough people around here that still choose those places instead of.
You say convenience, and it is convenience, but come on, dude. 15 minutes versus 45 minutes. It doesn't just sound convenient anymore. It sounds like I'm actually protecting the earth from the carbon emissions from my car.
It sounds like a sacrifice.
I could justify getting fucking McCafe every day, bro.
I mean, yeah, my dad does.
So I was thinking about emotion and about trauma the other day. Tell me about this new philosophy I'm working on. It happened when I was reading a Batwoman comic book. So here we go.
No.
Batwoman's pretty cool. But like there was like this story that featured like a Lala Lorna. I can never say that name correctly because I've only read it. Yeah, like the Mexican folklore, the lady who saw her husband getting it on with somebody, so she took the two kids and drowned them, and then drowned herself, and now just wanders Mexico weeping. She's called like the Weeping Woman or La Lorna.
Ah, the She of Mexico.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story, pretty cool ghost story. But the story in Batwoman was called hydrology, and this stuff isn't in the story. This is stuff I'm extrapolating from it that I'm reading into when it comes to our personal trauma. Because I know you've talked about trauma a bit here as a new recurring theme and the shared meaning narrative of where we're at in the world right now. It's that I think that most of our lives when it comes to trauma is all about emotional like hydrology, basically. Like there's an ocean of trauma and pain, generational or not, like inside of all of us. And the only reason that this world has like even the disguise of normalcy is because we're damming it up, not repressing it necessarily, but we have really complex hydrology systems inside of us. But every once in a while, you can't stop the flood. And that's what's scary, because I think that we're all kind of like, we're all kind of working towards a place where it's going to release soon.
Yeah,
and
we're Chevy
drown
Chase
the world.
And the Hoover Dam.
I think that
in
the human experience is about to drown the world right now, because our hydrology systems are being tampered with by propaganda, by governments, by states, by broken hearts, by just like everything, and it's just getting too much. And I think that like we've talked about the shared narrative right now is generational trauma, and all it takes is for one person to let the flood out, and then I think it becomes contagious.
I come from the water. I ain't afraid of no flood.
But that's just a fun thing I've been thinking about of emotional hydrology. It's fun to like hyper personify the different psychological systems that go on inside us, and we don't even realize that we're doing it.
No, yeah.
That is to say, read Batwoman. It's pretty complicated.
She's complicated.
You would love her though. Okay. Do you love hot lesbians who just party all the time? Yes.
That's my type, bro.
Now, you don't even know what
you
know what she looks like?
Yeah, I've seen the
pale skin, red hair.
Oh God.
Pale skin, red-haired lesbian who fights fucking Mexican ghosts in the street of Gotham. Yes, you would love her.
You showed me Emily Rudd last week. You showed me Catwoman this week. I'm going to be gooning for days.
Gooning, that's so good.